Welcome back, brothers and sisters. I am Braden. This is Langley Outdoors Academy, the place where we not only talk about what's going on in the gun world, but also how we're going to fix it together. And today, this content is going to start your Friday right and send you into the weekend in a right position because support for gun control across Republicans and independents is falling off of a cliff. Just like we have said every single time that this occurs, you can set your watch by it. There is a spike at a tragedy and a fall off back to reason every single time. And the lefties are not going to know what to do with this. Everything will be linked in the description box below, and I cannot wait to hear what you guys think about this one. And of course, make sure you like that video, subscribe to the channel, and turn the notification bell on. We are distributing freedom twice daily, and we'd love to have you along for the ride. All right, my brothers and sisters, let's dive into our source today through the Ground News app. This is an amazing source. It's something you go to first because you can see a lot of information that completes the story for you. So here's the article that we're hitting. GOP support for gun restrictions slips a year after Congress passes firearms law. This is from the Associated Press. Leans left, high factual, and an independent media source. Now, the interesting thing about this is as you look further, there are 18 sources that are covering this in the last hour. 60% of them are center, and it's kind of a split between right, center, and left. Now, the cool thing about Ground News as we go into this, you can actually set your preferences to see things that are breaking about gun rights like I've got right here. This is something that you can customize and make it all your own and see all the information that you need so we can push these rights to the next generation. Check it out. There's a link in the description box below. You get 30% off by using ground.news/Langley for $5 a month. And thank you again to Ground News for partnering with me on this because this is something that is big. Now, here we go. Let's dive into the actual article from AP. GOP support for gun restrictions slips a year after Congress passed firearms law, as I mentioned in the intro. This is so crucial and important. Republican support for gun restrictions is slipping a year after Congress passed the most comprehensive firearms control legislation in decades, with bipartisan support, according to a poll from the Associated Press Center for Public Affairs Research. Comprehensive firearms control. By the way, just put a pin in that. That's a new term, firearms control. That's an interesting phrase. Maybe it's a blip. We'll see. But most Democrats, 92%, want gun laws made stronger in line with their views in a Chicago Harris poll. Now, Chicago Harris polls do lean left, just as background information here. Conducted in July of 2022, so this is last month. But Republican desire for more expansive legislation has dropped from 232% from 49%, a 17% drop on the Republican side. But that's not the part the lefties should be concerned about. The part that the gun controllers, Chris Murphy, Everytown for Gun Safety, Shannon Watts, Moms Man Action, all of them, Giffords.org, they should be concerned about this part. Oh, let's see. And independent support also declined slightly to 61% from 72%. Okay, in polling, 11% drop. That is not slight. That's a big deal. Now, that number is still not where we need to see it, but if you're falling 19%, I believe it was 17% on the Republican side, and 11% on the independent side, that is not going in gun control's favor because people are using rationale versus the emotional response a year ago. That's key. Now, let's get into this because this, I think, is interesting when you dive into something that someone said in the interview process. This I think, speaks to a lot of it. Quote, "We've tried to legislate things for years without a lot of success, and I don't really think law and regulation are the answer to our problems," said Robert Lloyd, 57, of Boonville, Arkansas, who is a registered Republican but says he has lost faith in both sides. How many of you in the comments feel a connection to that? Just saying. I think our problems go way beyond guns, and that is the big thing. We're going to pause there for a second. The issues do go beyond guns because the issues will still exist if guns don't exist because people will have knives, people will have clubs, they will have their physical bodies, their fists, hands, and feet. You know, those things that kill more people than rifles every single year, according to the FBI. The problem is not the tool in our hand. The problem is the condition of our hearts and our minds in this country. We have allowed them to fall. The guns, the knives, the violence, the fistfights, all of it that we're seeing, the moral decay, is not because guns exist. It's because we have exchanged a morality and a common code of ethics for whatever I feel like is right today because it's my truth. That's where we're at right now. The second that we get into morality again, ethical decisions, the second that we actually have accountability for violating agreed upon laws, we will start to see the behaviors change. And guess what? Guns will be around then too, and then all of a sudden it'll be a magical fall off. Isn't that weird? Anyway, that's my little tirade. Let's continue. You guys let me know if you agree or not. Now, the AP poll highlights the complicated feelings Americans have around guns, particularly as the U.S. is on track to hit a record high number of mass shootings in 1 year. Gun violence is up in cities around the nation, and President Joe Biden is vying for re-election next year and is pushing a platform restricting guns that was all but politically unthinkable to fellow Democrats as recently as Obama's term. Well, that's probably because when Clinton did it, they lost huge in the House. That was kind of like the turning point. They lost massively. Even Bill Clinton said, I shouldn't have done that. Then Obama, every time he opened his mouth about gun control, he sold more guns than any campaign that the Democrats would sue gun manufacturers for. They literally don't get it. And the more that Biden goes into this election, because he's going to, and a main party platform, you just saw it in the AP and you covered it multiple times in other videos that we've done, the more that they make gun control their main platform, the more they're going to sell guns going into the election. This is about to be a massive gun buying year coming up in 2024, and Democrats are only to blame for it because they've got Trump, which is a little unstable for some people. You've got Biden promising gun control. That is a recipe for record gun sales. Just saying. And now this last piece, just because some of you guys will ask, here's the amount of people in the poll. Survey released on Friday included 1,165 adults and was conducted August 10 through 14. So the margin error of 3.8 percentage points. So this is in August, correct from earlier. It's not July, it's August. Now, in summation, you are seeing a lot of people realize that gun control just simply doesn't work. You've got Republicans going, okay, I flirted with the idea, it's not happening. They're falling off at a rate of 17% into the 30s. You have independents who are flirting with the idea around 70% going down into the low 60s. It is falling off a cliff. The only place that we've seen historically in the past year and a half, massive rises on gun control support is in the Democratic Party because they've completely convinced everyone on the Democrat side that guns are all the issue. And oddly enough, they just seem to ignore the fact that guns still cause problems in gun control zones because it's the people, not the guns. And that's what I've got for you guys on this beautiful Friday. Let me know what you think in the comments below, and I will see you on the next one. I'm Braden. See you later.